Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Hello. I'm just adjusting this here. All right. How are you guys? Welcome to another IELTS journey with Fabi. Okay, so if you want, you can go ahead and just tell me where you are watching this from. And remember, we are also live on YouTube. Okay, and because we're live on YouTube, I got this microphone is a bit funny today. Okay, wait. Yeah, got it. No, wait. Hello, hello. Okay, so just tell me where you're watching this from. All right. I thought I adjusted my microphone. Yeah, it's a bit funny now, but it's okay. All right. And some people are joining. That's awesome. Okay, guys. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Fabi. I'm an English teacher and I teach English here in Brisbane, Australia at universities and colleges here. And I also help a lot of people with the IELTS test. And I help people do the test only once. Okay, guys? No one should be doing the IELTS test more than once. All right. And here we talk about everything and anything IELTS. Okay, so I have some Portugal. Wow, I think it's the first one from Portugal. Yeah, guys, we have a. I think it's the first person who's watching from Portugal. Cool. Yeah. Usually Colombia is the winner. Let's see who's gonna be the winner today. So tell me, guys, where are you watching this from? And if you want to see me on a bigger screen, go over to YouTube. I forgot. Go over to YouTube. All right, guys. If you want to see the bigger screen. Okay, so I have all of this space here that you can see on Instagram. All right, Ecuador. So we have Portugal, Ecuador. Cool. Okay, guys. So keep telling me where you're watching this from. And also, of course, if you have any questions, pop the questions in the comments. Okay. If you go to YouTube, there's also a chat on YouTube. Okay. Sometimes I miss some of the questions. All right. But I usually go back to it at the end if I miss your question. All right. Good, good. Nice. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about speaking. Okay. Speaking part of the IELTS test. And, okay. And also, let me just move this a little bit here, a little bit that way. Yeah, good. Bit better. Yeah, a bit better. Sorry, guys. Hey, so we'll be talking a little bit about the speaking test, okay, and how sometimes your level of English, you can have a low level English and get a good score on the test. Okay, did you know that? Maybe you can put it in the chat. Did you know that you can get a good score even if you have a low level English? I'll tell you why and how today. All right, cool. Let's go. So, when it comes to the IELTS test, okay, in general, okay, so the whole IELTS test, okay, 50% of your score are strategies for the test, and the other 50% is English, okay? So, I always tell students, okay, if your English fails you, focus on your strategies. Okay, guys. I've seen people with low level English getting high scores on the test, and I've seen people with high level English getting low scores on the test. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Okay, guys, how you, if you have a high level English, sometimes you screw up and you get a low level, you get a low score. And some people with a low score, sorry, with low level English will get a high score. Okay. So to tell you a little bit about this today, I'm going to share some of my student stories. Yeah. So I think that 90% of what I do, okay, guys, is based on my students' experiences, okay? So, as you might have noticed, I'm always talking to them. I'm always asking them questions. I'm always asking them for feedback. How did you feel? How did you go? Okay. And with that information that I get from them, okay, it helps me help other people. And that's what I'm doing here today. Okay. So, what I'm sharing with you are things that happen to my students. Okay. And they had some success, but they also failed a few times. Okay, so I'm here to share that with you. Okie dokie, let's go. So, uh, the basic thing that we're going to talk about today is understanding the question that the examiner asks you. Okay, so when you understand the question the examiner asks you, okay, you are more likely to get a high score. And I've seen people with low level English getting a high score just because they managed to understand what the examiner was asking. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to share two stories with you today. Okay. Hi, Fabi. Hey, Andres. How are you, Andres? Andres, today we're going to be talking about speaking. Okay. So if you have any speaking questions, go ahead and ask me. All right, Andres. Someone said hi, guys. Hello. Hello, hello. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and pop the questions in. The topic today is speaking. All right. So, um, I have a student, okay, and her English level is quite high. Okay. So when I talk to her, she could be like a 7.5, maybe even an 8. All right. When I speak to her. And this is the sad story. Today I'm going to tell you a sad story and a happy story. Okay. So I'm gonna start with the sad one. So her English level is quite high. Okay. And before she met me, she did the IELTS test. And she got 6 for speaking. Can you believe it? When I talk to her, I would say, I think she could be a 7.5 or 8, but she got 6. Okay. Why do you think she got 6? Because she didn't understand the question the examiner asked her. Okay. So she was telling me about her speaking part. And she said, look, Fabi, they asked me about teenagers. I don't know anything about teenagers. Anything. So she was like, I don't know what to say. Okay. And then, of course, we practiced how to answer questions that your answer is a no. Okay. Instead of just saying, no, I don't know. Okay. Which is bad. Okay, guys. Don't do that. Okay. She said, well, now that you told me, I know how to answer the question properly. However, when I did the test, they asked me about teenagers, what teenagers do. And I don't know what teenagers do. How am I going to answer that question? And then she said, and the questions were all about these things, children and teenagers. And I didn't know what to say. And I got a 6. And I was like, oh my God, that's a really low score. She's like, yes. And then she just tried the test again. And then guess what? She got 7.5 in speaking. And then she was like, Fabi, I don't understand that. What's going on? And I said, what was the topic? And she said, oh, the topic was much easier. It was about work. And I was like, oh, that's it. So the fact that she didn't know much about the topic, she didn't really understand the question. And because she didn't understand the question, she didn't answer properly. And that gave her a low score. Okay. So, guys, imagine a person who can communicate very well getting a low score just because the person didn't understand the question. Okay. So, the key thing for the speaking part is understand the question. Okay, guys, that's the thing you have to do. Okay, 100%. Okay, because if you understand the question, I believe you get at least a 6, especially in part 3 of the test. If you manage to answer part 3 quite well, okay, guys, you will get a 6 or more. Okay, so this is the sad story, a person with a high level getting a low score because the person is not very familiar with the topic. And then because you're not familiar with the topic, what happens? You don't understand the question that well. Okay, so that's a big, big problem. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna help you how to fix it in a minute. Okay. And then I have a happy story for you. Okay, so I have this student, right? We worked together a few years ago. And then The IELTS test expires in 2 years. I don't know if you know that. So you take the IELTS test. After 2 years, it expires, right? So you have to take it again. So we worked together a few years ago, and then he needed to do the test again. He's like, "Oh, I have to do the test. I'm just gonna do the test." He didn't tell me anything, right? So he went and did the test. I think he got five for yeah, well, the first time he tried, I think he needed 5.5 and he got six overall. Six every part of the test. Everything was six, right? And then he tried by himself, and then he got, I think it was five for reading, five for writing, and then it was, I think, six for listening, and 7.5 in speaking. 7.5 in speaking. Okay, we're like, what? What's with that score, right? I was like, oh, he must be practicing. And he said, no, I'm not practicing for the IELTS test. But if I remember well, part two was about the internet. And his profession, he's a web designer. Okay, so he's a web designer. So he spends all day on the computer. And I don't know if you're familiar with the IELTS test, but part two, okay, you have those questions in part two. And then you have the part three. So the questions in part three are related to part two of the IELTS test, right? So part two, I think it was about describe a website that you often use or describe something you do on the internet. The guy spends all day on the internet. So even though his English wasn't very good, he was familiar with the topic and he could really understand what he had to do. So he went blah, 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 and talked about it. Cool. And then the next part, there were more questions about the internet. And then he just kept talking and talking and talking and talking. So the fact that he was familiar with the topic, he could understand the questions better. So a person who would be a 6 got a 7.5 in speaking, guys. 7.5 in speaking. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? So that's the good story. Okay. All right. Now, same two people. Okay. So I told you a sad story about a person and a happy story about a person. Now, let me tell you the next time they try the test. Okay. So remember that person who had very good English and got six? Okay. Try the test again. Right. And then the person did the test again. And the questions were about work. And she managed to get a 7.5 in speaking. So can you see that the same person? Okay, guys. So and then she said, I understood the questions. I was familiar with the topic. Okay. So that's how important it is. Okay, guys, to understand the question. You understand the question. If you are familiar with the topic, then your score will be even higher. But if you just understand the question, you were about 5.56. Okay. And then if you manage to know more about the topic, then even higher. Okay. So that other student there. Okay. So the sad story, I'm sorry, the happy story, right? His English level is not so good. Okay. Remember, he got 5 in writing, but he managed to get 7.5 in speaking. Okay. Then he had to try again because he needed 6, right? He needed 6 overall, no less than 6 in any part of the test, right? So we worked together a little bit. And then he was like, oh no, I'm not worried about speaking. I got 7.5. I was like, okay, cool. And then he tried the test again. And he got a 6, right? And then we talked about, he was like, oh, well, you know, I didn't understand the question very well this time. I was like, oh, really? He's like, yes. It was about, I can't remember what he said it was about. Sorry, guys, I don't remember what he said the topic was about. But imagine that. So he got 7.5 the first time. And then the second time, he's like, I didn't get the question. And he got a 6. I think his level would be a 6, 6.5. Okay, so I was quite shocked with the 7.5. Pleasantly surprised, of course, right? But then 6, 6.5 sounded a bit more realistic, okay? But he said, look, I tried my best to answer and I managed to get a 6. That's the score he needed. So he was happy with that, right? But can you see, guys? So if you are failing the speaking part of the IELTS test, Okay. Maybe the problem is not your English. Maybe the problem is you don't understand the questions. Okay. Maybe that's one of your problems. All right. But then, uh, if you manage to understand the questions, if you practice paying attention to the parts of the question, okay, guys, I think you can get a 6 in the speaking part. Okay, I've seen so many people, like, as you know, when I'm helping my students, we do practice tests. Okay, we do lots of practice tests. And you when the students don't perform as well, usually it's not because of their English. Usually it's because they can't understand the question. Okay, guys. And again, remember I said that 50% of the IELTS test is strategies and the other 50% is English. If you just work on your English and you don't work on strategies, you might not succeed. Or if you just work on strategies and you don't improve your English, you are not going to succeed. Okay. However, if your English level is a bit low at the moment, okay, and you need a 6, for example, I believe that you can achieve with lots of strategies. Okay. Of course, for a 7, maybe then we have to polish your English a little bit. However, the first step, guys, the first step is understanding the questions. You'll be surprised at how well you will perform if you just practice actually understanding the questions a little bit better. Okay, so understanding the questions will improve your score maybe by 1 point if you've been getting 5s, let's say. Okay, all right, okay. Do you have any questions? Let me see. Let me see. I think I saw a question here. Yes. Okay. So Andres said, it's better to be fluent but using basic words, or have little pauses but using complex words? Okay. Very good question, Andres. Okay, guys. So as you know, when the examiner is checking your speaking, okay, the examiner is checking for 4 things. Okay, so the examiner is checking your grammar, the examiner is checking your vocabulary, your fluency, pronunciation, and how well you're answering the questions. Okay, that's why I said that answering the question properly is so important. Okay, they're checking lots of things. Okay, but then that's one thing that Andres said. Um, I'm fluent, I speak fast, but maybe when I'm speaking fast, my English is a little bit basic. Okay, my words are simple, but I'm fluent. But then, if I want to be a bit more sophisticated, use complex sentences, I have to stop and think. So maybe I'm not as fluent. Okay, so my answer for you, Andres, is a combination of both. Okay, so my answer is a combination. Why? Because mm, if you are using your basic level, right, you are going to be fluent. We keep talking. Okay, keep talking, keep talking, keep talking. However, if you want a higher score, a 7, for example, you need to be using complex sentences. Okay. So I think that you should be quite fluent. Okay. However, if you have to pause sometimes to think a little bit about what you're going to say, that's completely fine. Okay, guys. So when people are asked questions, okay, people stop to think. Like I just read Andrea's question here. Okay, I had to think a little bit because it's a good question. Okay, so am I fluent with basic English, or do I talk slowly with good English, Fabi? What do I do? Okay, it's not an easy question to answer. Okay, so I have to think. So I pause a little bit. So that's a natural pause. Okay, so if you have that natural pause before you start speaking, that's completely fine. Everyone and anyone can do that. Okay. However, Andres, if I start talking and then I pause a little bit and I say a little bit more and I pause again, that's not very good. Okay, because that makes me think that maybe you're looking for words, okay, and then you're not as fluent. However, pauses, natural pauses are completely fine. Okay, but if you're feeling like you're trying to say something that is nice and then you get a little bit stuck, just keep going. Okay, guys, that's why practice is so important. Okay, so let's say you just start practicing for the IELTS test. Okay, keep it simple. Keep talk 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 talk, go 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 go. Okay, keep it simple in the beginning, and then with time, okay, my advice would be just try to answer the questions at first, and then as you go, and then as you go, you'll be able to be more fluent, and then work also on speaking things, saying things that are a bit more sophisticated. Okay, did I answer your question, Andres? Let me know, please. Let me see any more questions here. Let me see. I don't think so. Guys, I'm gonna go over it again because sometimes I miss stuff. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Okay. I think that was it. Yeah. Oh, yes. Andres says, thank you, Fabi. You're welcome, Andres. You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions about speaking, guys, for today? That was a very good question, Andres, because I think that the key thing to ace the IELTS speaking test is actually to be able to speak fast, fluently, with few mistakes. Okay. And that's what everyone should be trying to achieve. Okay. And of course, guys, pay attention to the question. Okay. Pay attention to the question. Okay, guys, because if you misunderstand the question, even if you talk with beautiful English, even if you don't make any mistakes, you are not going to get a high score. Okay, guys, just because actually, just thought of a story now. I have a friend who's an examiner. I think I told you I have lots of friends who are examiners. And every time you guys ask me a question, I'm not sure about the answer, I ask them. I was like, oh, my student said this. What do you think? I told them this. And they were like, yeah, 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 that's the right answer. Okay. Okay. Someone said, hello again. I'm Jonathan from Costa Rica. Your English is amazing. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you very much. I've been practicing for many years. Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, okay, yeah. So I was talking about the the my friend, right? My friend who's a an examiner, right? And then she was telling me about a student she was working with, and that she was helping the student and all of that. And she said that this person, she asked the person a question, okay, and this person answered with beautiful English, no mistakes, but it was the wrong answer. So the person misunderstood the question. Okay, so the person misunderstood the question. And because the person misunderstood the question, a person who could have been a 7 or 7.5 was a 6, unfortunately. Okay, guys, so sorry. So yeah, so can you see? So even if you have a high level English, if you don't understand the question, you are not going to get a high score. But if you have a low level English, but you manage to understand the question well, you might be able to get a high score. I'm not going to say more than 6, okay, guys, but if you manage to answer quite well, at least a 6. Okay, but if you're aiming for a higher level, higher score, maybe a 7, then you do need to polish your English. Okay, but I think that getting a 6 is a great start. Okay, just by understanding the question. Okay, okay. So someone said, I'm getting the hang of it. That's good, man. That's good. That's good. Yes. Yeah, guys. And again, practice, 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 guys. You only know where you're at, what your weaknesses are if you keep practicing, okay? And you need some feedback, okay? So definitely you need to get someone to help you, listen to you, okay? You can listen to yourself, but sometimes, having someone listen to you is the best thing you can do. All right, okay. Do you have any more questions for me, guys? Let me go over this. Any more questions for me? Speaking. I'll be back on Thursday. I'm back on Thursday. And I think you're going to be talking about speaking again. Yes. hmm Yeah. I think I have a little surprise for you on Thursday, guys. I'm just confirming a few things, but I have a little surprise for you on Thursday. Yes. Any more questions for me? No, no more questions. All right, let me go over this again because I forget sometimes. I miss a few things. Okie dokie. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I'll be back on Thursday. But before I go, I have something very, very important to tell you. Okay. I have a special event. This event is 100% online and 100% free. Okay. It's called IELTS Booster. Okay. So it's an event with 3 lessons. Okay. And you will learn strategies and things you can do to do the IELTS test only once. Okay, guys. So if you're interested in joining this event, okay, link is in the bio. Okay, so go to the bio, click there, and you'll be able to join. Okay, all right. So amazing event, amazing event. Okay, guys. So yeah. Oh, some people said, I need a little more practice. Yes, everyone needs practice, a lot of practice. Okay. And then Andres said, "See you, Fabi. Thanks for your advice." You're very welcome, Andres. Very welcome. Okay. So, guys, if you want to know more about the IELTS test and strategy, so you can do the IELTS test only once, okay, just go to Instagram. Okay. So, if you're watching me on YouTube, go to Instagram. I know if you're watching me on Instagram, I send you to YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, I send you to Instagram. Okay. But yes, okay. So, just go to the link in the bio, okay, on Instagram, and you'll be able to join the event IELTS Booster with me, Fabi. Okay, guys, we're gonna learn lots of cool things there. All right, so I'm gonna go now, and I'll see you on Thursday with a little surprise. Okay, big surprise. I think I'm just organizing something pretty cool for you, especially for you who needs help with speaking. If you saw my stories, you know what I'm talking about. All right, okay, dokie, guys. So I'm gonna go, and I will see you soon. Bye.